Mackie here. It is March 2nd, 2016. It is 7:19 p.m. and this will be out tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, whichever place you are right now. In the east, in the west. For those who are in the east, good morning everybody. And for those in the west, pretty much have a good night. Now then, we are 2 weeks away from first stand. I know, weird, isn't it? Time flies like a cuckoo train, I guess. And here we are, the six teams that have already qualified for this year's tournament. We got Genji, Fear X, TSW, G2, Loud, and Lion. Two more teams will be locking their spots in the LPL in a couple of days. And that is between BLG and JDG. And of course, the last team remaining from the losers bracket, Hodgepodge, of course. Now, why is this important, Aki? Why is all of this important? Because I decided to give the League Dashians a vacation, and unfortunately, I tell them, yeah, guys, you've been doing well with League of Legends, but it's time for the big boys to come into my house, or would you call it the big tournament to get the viewership and all kind of buff. Sadly, because T1 did not make it, the viewership buff was pretty much gonna die here. But I digress. This is a tasty tournament. This looks like a really tasty and, in the grand scheme of things, wide open tournament. Now, we are not going to preview or do anything for the next couple of days, but welcoming you to my brand new segment. It is going to be dedicated to all things first stand, from the shorts to the reactions to even the stats. God, I cannot wait to have some numbers on my face. Welcome, everyone, to Taking a Stand, or Taking the Stand. I think I could call it Taking a Stand. Yeah, Taking a Stand is better. Now, this is, of course, similar to the Mid-Season Madness episode that I did for all the mid-season tournament last year in Vancouver, and what was supposed to be my Worlds coverage, but unfortunately, Hurricane Melissa have other ideas, and sadly, the death of my family. So now, new year, new me. Well, not newish me. And we are going to do the same old thing that we always do. We will be talking about all the things that happen in the first stand. We're going to be talking about the teams. We're going to talk about all the craziness. And come tomorrow, starting tomorrow, I will be previewing every single team. Okay, not every single team, of course, but we'll be previewing every. But okay, we're going to kick off the first stand coverage by previewing every single team that is getting there. So Genji will go first, and Fear X, and Team Secret Wells, G2, Loud, Lion, and then the two winners from the LPL. And that way we get 8 teams for 8 days, of course. A little shorter, but pretty much wholesome to keep the algorithm going, of course. And I'd be probably going to react to every single match that happens. The same way I do with MSI, previewing the matches, all the kind of stuff. So the greatest thing about this tournament, or the saddest part about this tournament, is that it's only a week. And I can manage to do much with just a week. If I do like for 2 or 3 weeks, and especially in a different time zone than everybody, I will crash. But luckily this year, we get 2 tournaments in a time zone that is favorable for me. One in Brazil and one in New York and Texas, of course, in the East. So at least we got that going. Now, let us do a early preview of all the teams that are there. We're just calling it a way to overreaction preview of the how do I say this? The first stand. And I'm going to borrow one of my good dear friends, Mr. David Shynock, of using one of his segments, one of his, how do I say this? His trope, by the way. And that is, I'm going to kick off the first stand preview with the favorite and classic I don't want to overreact, but, which is, by the way, borrowed by McAfee. But since David Shyvana is a League of Legends guy, I decided to borrow it from a League of Legends guy. Besides, Andrew DiStefano did his stats based on the hockey guy and doing the whiteboard thing. So, you know what? If I'm gonna copy somebody else. Of course. So, so we're gonna kick off with the very first overreaction. And by the way, I already did my overreaction, and I'm sending it to David. And I hope I can get it through because this could be my third time to be involved in a David Shynock video. I've done with the LTA crappiness. I did it with the Sentinels thing. Hopefully, third time's a charm, and hopefully this one is right. I was right about the first one. I was wrong about the second one, sort of close to it. But hopefully, the third time's a charm. But we're gonna go overreacting this entire tournament, and we'll kick off with. I don't want to overreact, but I believe G2 are going to have the worst international tournament we have ever seen since 2017 MSI. And that is not saying anything. Yes, G2 won LEC, which is great, another title. But if you look at the entire season, minus the playoffs, of course, when they performed decently well. But if you look at the entire G2 split, they look off. Like, the ensemble look invincible, let's be honest. And not invisible. No, invisible with an S, by the way. Just trying to make sure my spelling is correct. Hansama looked invisible. The Caps did not do well, other than the playoff buff that he received. Broken Blade looked fine in the playoffs, but other than that, in regular season, did not do well. And if it wasn't for Common Corp scaling and wave clear and Sivir and getting a few more kills, doesn't matter. This game came down to inches. Inches, I tell you. It's like G2 won the game, but I had that feeling of like, Common Corp might win this thing. If Common Corp did this, if Kalist can do that, Common Corp might win the whole thing. And it came down to inches. It came down to brilliant initiative by G2 and Broken Blade with the Skarner in the base, of course, and split pushing. It was Caps' brilliant Anivia play. Well, I'm not saying brilliant, but sometimes his infinite Anivia play, of course. Hansama finding some picks. And I think G2 did deserve to win that title. I'm not saying deserve, but based on numbers and the series as a whole, I think that G2 earned the right to win that title. Despite the fact they like having gold leagues like most of the time. I think Andrew DiStefano said that there was a 75% G2 was leading in most of the games in terms of gold. Like, you lead 75% and yet you won like 3 games in a squeaker. And give Common Corp without credit. They fought so hard to even like make it a series. Because let's be honest, at 2-0, I was ready for G2 to win this series, especially in game 3. And if they'd have to fail, maybe game 4. And the fact that it didn't happen, and Yike and Kayu and Kot and Yahoo showed up, played fantastic, and given this team a chance despite Kalist not playing well. And then all the chips were on Kalist's table, and he nearly did it. But unfortunately, it was never meant to be. But that does not mean if you're a G2 fan, you must be feeling like you're popping champagnes and you're feeling happy. You just went through probably the worst LEC title split you have won in a long time. And I'm not saying this to, well, actually, I'm kind of saying this to downplay the G2 thing. I think G2 is going to pretty much gonna get the worst international tournament since MSI. You thought MSI last year was bad? This is going to be worse. Now you're thinking to yourself, Akeem, oh, but you're facing Beer, FearX, and Secret Worlds, and Lawyer. Okay, here's the kicker. The way that G2 play in that finals and the way G2 play in those best of 1 series, especially against Lost Retratones, is going to make me concerned that I feel like they're going to lose to a Lion. They're going to lose to a Secret Worlds team. They're going to lose to FearX at this point. Because I think FearX has some decent good players that can actually match G2 and actually play well. I'm not going to show you any stats, of course, from G2's play. That will be saved for later on. But if you look at the stats, G2 did well in like the early games in some parts. It's that they can find a way to close it in. And some of the players did not play it like themselves. Especially Caps, who just, if you look at his hairstyle right now, he's showing his age. He's close to 30, and his hairstyle looks like he's in his 50s, I guess. And that thing is pretty much representative of G2. They are the gatekeepers of the LEC, separating Carmine Corp or Koi from even further success right now. They're kind of like Djokovic in his last legs right now. And I'll tell you what, if G2 managed to do well in international tournaments, especially this one, so be it. But I just don't feel like this G2 team is going to do well in first stand. I just don't. And I think the perception is going to be like for many EU fans or EMEA fans, of course, is that I do not feel good about G2 going in there. I can feel good about Common Corp, and I can feel decently good against Koi, but G2 is just the name, yes, but the international is not going to be great. They're kind of like Fnatic right now. Although you can say the Fnatic are fallen apart, of course, at the seams, but it's another one of those old, dynasty teams just trying to hang on to the glory too much and just shrivel away with every chance and just ruin the reputation for so many EMEA fans who trusted them. Like, again, this is not hurting G2, but I'm just saying, you look at G2 this year so far, and it just does not feel great. It just does not feel great at all. So, yeah, that's my first overreaction. My second overreaction is pretty much simple. I don't want to overreact, but if Gen G does not go 10-0 in first stand, it should be considered a failure. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the teams that are there, let's take out FearX, of course, because I think if we can go by the way this is going in the pools, Gen G will face off against an LPL team, and then anyone from Secret Wells, G2, Loud, and Lion. And that's pretty much how it goes. And they're not going to put like two LCK teams in the same group. So they're probably going to put one LCK team, one LPL team, and then, the other two will be for the rest. And if that happens, they might face one of those wacky LPL teams. Maybe a JDG, maybe a BLG, of course, if that happens. But consider how Gen G have been dominating the LCK and have been playing so well. And consider now that LCK is like the most watched view from the English-speaking fans. Many people are thinking Gen G is going to roll over the first 10 trophy like it's just nothing. Just like we saw against FearX on Sunday. Then it was no doubt that Gen G is going to win. It's the matter of by what scoreline, of course. And that's going to be the same thing with Gen G in this first stand, is that they're going to win first stand, but by how much? Are they going to go 10-0? I think so. I think so. And if they don't, or if they even lose a series, especially in the semifinals and finals, that's a failure. That's a gigantic failure on them. But Akeem, the first tournament doesn't even matter. Kind of. Kind of. You want to tell Honda Live Esports that? You want to tell Lion that? You want to tell Gen G about that? Or even G2? You want to tell them about that? But Akeem, oh, shut up. Go back down. Anyways, Gen G should totally win this first stand by even a country mile. They should not even allow the team to even let up. I want to see Gen G crushed every single team within about 30 minutes, of course. I want to see Gen G just make every team have to FF within 15 minutes. Although that's never happened in Pro League, of course. I want to see them try. I want to see Gen G just dominate the league. Make first stand as boring as possible, but boring enough to even win and just put everybody on doubt. And just put them as the undisputed kings of the first stand champions. And I think Gen G can do it. I think Gen G can do it. Will it happen? I think so. But there are so many things that can go wrong, of course, with a new patch being developed and the travel and the fact that, the expectations of some of the other teams are kind of like, we have nothing to lose. I mean, we've already there, so you know what? We're going to play a lot of fearless, a lot of, strategies. And also, this is first stand, so actually, fearless draft. So we will have a chance to see some crazy champions. And also, Gen G are kind of like the worst enemy. Every time Gen G are kind of favored to win something, they always get pushed. They always get nervous, and they always crumble. Especially with the fact that this is the same team, but by the way, lost to KT roster twice. So weird things can happen, of course. That does not mean that Gen G can't dominate the whole thing and win it, but there's that small inkling in our brain that might be thinking Gen G is going to lose, probably a game or two, and it will creep the mind of them. Now, if that happens in the GSL group stage, fine. But if this happened in the knockout stage, and if they get pushed by, let's say, Loud, of course, then we'll have some trouble. Then we'll have some real trouble. But for now, I think Genji is still going to win this whole thing clean as a whistle, no stoppages. Number three, I don't want to overreact, but I believe that Team Secret Whales are going to carry the torch from CFO and and going to make the LCP better. Now, you're thinking to yourself, if you are the LCP fan, CFO are gone, Gamma's gone, so you're thinking, well, Team Secret Whales are going to be cannon fodder, of course. And I would say no. First of all, this is basically almost the same team that make it to the finals of LCP, only to lose by that CFO team. So they're not like a pushover team, and they've been great in regular season. They dominate the finals, of course. I watched the whole finals, and it was not even close. It was absolutely not even close. An absolute beating, to be honest. And now many people are looking at this and saying, well, CFO are gone, and there goes the LCP's brilliantness in international tournament. Now, Team Secret Whales are going to be the biggest test for the LCP to determine if this team is just a one-team region, or are they good enough and deep enough to feel like they can be doing well internationally. Now, if you look at the whole lineup, Loud could be gettable, Lion could be gettable, G2 could be gettable. Almost every team is gettable except Gen G. The question is for Team Secret Whales is that are they good enough to win 2 series? That's all you need. Just win 2 series from 3 and you're in. The question is, are they good enough to win any of these other 2 series? They might have a shot. They might have a shot. If they can keep playing like this, if they can do well, if they can actually, coordinate pretty well, then I think it's possible. And if that happens, then maybe people at LCP fandom and everybody else might be thinking, you know what? CFO was good last year, but this Team Secret Whales are doing well internationally. Maybe I could watch the LCP more. Although I don't even watch the LCP that much. Shout out to Psychedelic Pro for actually doing the LCP thing. But I will say that the LCP's depth is going to be really tested in first stand. Because if Team Secret Whales crash out, everybody's going to look at last year and saying, well, CFO was the best thing to ever happen to LCP, and now look what happened. Although you can say that, CFO's squad will get decimated anyways, of course. But if Team Secret Whales do well, if Team Secret Whales can take series out of one of these big teams, maybe take a game out of Gen G, of course, then maybe the LCP could have some depth. And who knows, maybe Team Secret Whales will be like the new CFO and just run with it for the rest of the year and assert their dominance in the region. But I'll tell you one thing. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun to watch a brand new team see if it can just, compete and just dominate the rest of the teams. Or not saying dominate, but also challenge. Now, here's my biggest overreaction, which is going to be a little snippet. I mean, the thing that I did to listen, I sent this one to David, of course. If David's watching, hello. But my full overreaction is this. I don't want to overreact, but Lion is going to be a top 4 team. I think it's going to happen. I think for the first time in a long while that the LCS is going to have a top 4 team in any national tournament for the first time since 2018. Now, I get first stand is not the biggest tournament, the be-all, end-all, but listen, Common Core fans don't even care if this team get beaten by Hunter Life Esports. Like, LEC fans don't even care if the first stand tournament is a Mickey Mouse tournament. They made finals for God's sakes, and at least there's something to be celebrated. If Lion Gaming can make it to finals in a tournament that has Gen G in it and probably one of the stronger LPL teams, then that's an achievement. And look what they have. Doka, a really good top laner who knows how to play some wacky picks and actually played so well in top lane. You got the best Western player in all of Civilization with Inspired, who can be a little hot hand sometimes, but when he's on and he can shot call, this guy is on a heater. An absolute heater. And I think he can do well. Saint put up some decent performances. Berserker was a brilliant. Isles was the unsung hero and probably like the most, how do I say this? Um, the forgotten guy, of course, the underrated guy, of course, in that team. And you look at this Alliance squad, and like, what did they have to lose? They succeeded something that they were never expected to do in a team that were supposed to be like not so great early on, but like ramp up until summer. Now they actually won it in the most surprising of ways, of course, and doing it in the most surprising ways against a Cloud9 team that everybody expected them to win. Like 99% of the people say that Cloud9 should win. 99%. And the 1% saying, I believe in Lion. And then, congratulations, Lion wins. Yay. It makes you feel like if you're a Lion fan, you must be thinking, what do we have to lose? We're just going to go out there, have fun, and, unload the expectations of saying, come on, carry us for LCS. You can do this, Lion. You can do this, Lion. Go win for LCS. No pressure. If you lose, then we will roast you and your family, and I'm gonna make sure that you're gonna send death threats. We're not gonna do that, okay? Just let Lion have fun. Just let Lion have their fun. It's their first international tournament ever. Although you could say that Lion Gaming early on and Rainbow Seven make international tournaments, but it's the first time they're going international tournament as an LCS representative. And I think they're going to go out there and actually show up and just play decently well. I don't want them to do the classic LCS thing of like, we're just going to play some, meta counters and just play passive and not do anything. And like, no. Guys, no. No. I want you guys to go balls deep, okay? If you're going to lose, lose with some style. Lose with some aggressiveness. Lose with some absolute attitude. That's what we want. Just kind of like 100 Thieves, of course. They went out. Listen, they were never expected to do well, but at least 100 Thieves go out on their own shield. And by the way, Dokla was on that team from 100 Thieves, of course. So this is not what back-to-back tournaments that Dokla has reached with different teams. Yeah, he is cooking. And I think if you're a Lion fan, you must be thinking to yourself, listen, my team was never expected to do much, but now that we won and going to first stand internationally, this is huge. And also, I kind of write it in my Reddit page that this is huge for LATAM, of course. Consider how, the whole LTA thing was kind of like a disaster. And the fact that a Lion team that has been, not as much LATAM players being developed, of course, and this is a LATAM team with no LATAM players, so it is what it is. But for a team for a team that is grown up in LATAM and actually do this, it might turn a lot of eyes. And consider Dokla's popularity internationally, this might give him more fans than expected and give Lion the international boost he needed. Although it will not help the English viewership, sadly, because right now LCS viewership is doing fine right now. But LEC, it's not looking great. Oh, you won lost by the toners with that. Oh, I'm sorry, but K-Drill is just gone, so yeah, can't do that. Right, I believe that is pretty much all the overreactions. It's a little short one, but this is gonna like a little taste of what you expect from my taking a stand extravaganza throughout the next couple of days and weeks, of course. But before that, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. A rhetorical but stupid question, of course. So, if somebody is giving you $50 and say, would you sleep with a dragon? Would you say yes? Now, it's a weird thing, but you will take the money because why not? Look at esports right now. They will take anything, of course, even the Saudi bag. But, what type of dragon? Oh, we talk about Miss Kobayoshi's Toru dragons? Nah, too weird for me. Too itchy for me, of course. No, I'm talking about a strong dragon. A dragon that will protect me. A dragon that is so powerful that it can wipe off civilizations. I am talking about this beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are looking at the Shyvana rework. Not released, of course. The dev, preview just said that, of course. But my gosh, she's a beauty. Like, Jesus, she's wearing pants. Wow, look at that body shape. Look at those abs. Look at those. Look at that horns, the fire in our eyes, of course. This feels like an absolute 180, ladies and gentlemen. It's so beautiful. And the greatest thing about it is that she can also be comforting to you. She can light up your entire room with, with her breath, light up the fireplace, and she can protect you from all, burglary and all kinds of stuff. So would I, sleep with a dragon? I said yes. It works for Toothless and Astra, of course, in How to Train a Dragon. So why not? Why not? Crazy, but I think I'll take it. I'll take the money and I'll just give me Shyvana every day of the week. And also, by the way, I would like to drink this grape juice, not champagne, but I wanted to drink this grape juice as a little bit of celebration. Two celebrations, of course. The first celebration is that if you are an ARAM Mayhem fan, congratulations. That part of the game is now being not permanent, but being here for the long run. So, praise be. The second thing about it, and the biggest news of all, no new champions. No new champions being developed for this year. So, other than the Shyvana rework, and I think this is Riot, of course, so they can always pull a twist, there'll be no new champions this year. Which, if you're a League of Legends player, the fact you're seeing champions every single month for the last couple of years, it's refreshingness. You get, look, listen, they have 170 champions, of course. Like Riot, come on, listen, they have 170 champions. Just rework the ones that you got. Look at this beauty. You can just rework Lux or something, or Garen, or anything. Come on. You got time. You got all the money in the world. Just rework some champions, okay? That's all I have to say, okay? So, I'm going to pop this champagne and drink and cheers to Riot for actually doing some decent things this year, even though I give them a lot of flack sometimes. Okay. And the most important thing, by the way, is that not only this is a thumbnail for this video, but also she'll be the face of First Stand. Because, of course, portions of this will go into the revenue pool because, of course, Riot decided to remove the prize money from so many leagues and so many tournaments. So this beautiful Shyvana skin is going to be all yours for the credible price of a couple of revenue skins and your wallets. So there's that. So enjoy this beauty and enjoy this absolute firestorm of a woman. I mean, no, we do not want craziness, Hakeem. We do not want craziness. Nope. Just end the show right there. Thank you all for watching. And I know this is a little bit long, 28 minutes, but this is what we're going to expect from First Stand going forward throughout this month. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We're closer to 100 subscribers. Yes, we're in 62 subscribers at the time of recording, but I want 100 before Worlds. Because if that happens, I'm going to have to celebrate some way, somehow. Anyways, thank you for watching. Ciao.